Hey guys, Rexasaur here, and welcome to Patch Notes on the 11th of March 2025. How's everyone doing? It is a time. I totally did not forget that I was doing this today. No, it was not just my wife going past and going, "Are you going to do your Patch Notes today?" and me going, "Oh, I forgot." So, whoops, but yeah, you get one. Ooh, that was close. How's everyone doing? It's been a fairly busy week for me last week, and this week is going to be fairly busy as well. Yeah, I'm just looking at my calendar. It's going to be fairly busy. So I hope everyone is doing okay. For me, what happened? Well, so last Tuesday we had Baldur's Gate 3, so that was fun. We defeated Grim in the Forge, and that was like the big thing that we did. So we're heading into the end of Act 1, which is fun and interesting. Then on Wednesday, the big thing that happened was we had a pub quiz. One of our friends was hosting a pub quiz, so it was a pub that he frequents, and you put your name down to become the quizmaster for the evening, and so that's what he did. So we went. It was 5 rounds in total. The first round was a picture round, which I completely aced-ish. I lost some points here and there because it was a picture round with video game villains, which is basically something that I have a lot of knowledge on. And you had to name, for 1 point, the video game it was from, and for the extra point, the name of the video game villain. So, I scored 17. I would have scored 19 had it not been for the fact that so there was a Pac-Man monster, Pac-Man ghost there, and the only Pac-Man ghost name that I know is Blinky, and I just didn't put any down, and it was Blinky, and I should have just put it down to get the point. And the other one was, there was 006, James Bond 007 GoldenEye was one of the games, and the villain was 006 Travalain, I can never remember his name, but I keep confusing, and this is something I've done historically throughout my entire life, I keep confusing his name for Trelawney, which is not his name. So, whoops. Also, did not know, and this is one that I would never have got, did not know that the big bad enemy from Metroid is called Metroid. What a moron. So, something I know, but everywhere else got all them points. And then there was just a bunch of other scoring things, which I was less good at. I actively got some information wrong, mostly because I've got misinformed, and really this pub quiz allowed me to realise just how much I'm being misinformed and just take things for face value from the internet most of the time. But sometimes some things are just, especially when it's to do with Trump, there are things that are so believable or that are just like wildly garish, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense for Trump to do that. And one of the questions was, because it was news of this week, and there was only one Trump question, because a lot of it was just local based, but one of them was Trump, and it was the price of his gold entry into the US. So you could pay basically and this amount of money to enter the US. I had read somewhere that it was 500 million US dollars, and it was because I then read, this means that only like 1,000 people in the world can actually get it, and it made sense because of that. Turns out it was only $5 million, which is still a stupid amount of money, but it means that there's a significantly more amount of people that can afford that. Not that you would want to at this point. So yeah, that was one that I got wrong because of misinformation. So look at me. But that was a pub quiz. It was really fun. I fucked up at the final, so we came joint second, so we had to do a head-to-head, and I basically, no one was getting up, so I got up because my general knowledge is better than most, except the question was the one kind of question that I really struggle with, and it was, what is the population of Ynys Mons, the Isle of Anglesey, which is an island off the coast of North Wales, and I'm atrocious when it comes to population. I cannot fathom the amount of people that live in a place. I estimate population all the time. So basically I was like, okay. So but this is my thinking. Anglesey up north has 2 big cities. It has Holyhead, which is a port city, which it probably was bigger back in the day, but it's a port city, and Bangor, which is another really big city. It has a university, whilst Holyhead does not. And then the island itself has a bunch of villages and towns. So I was like, oh, okay, well, Holyhead being a biggish city, that's probably about 75,000. And then Bangor is quite a big city, so maybe 100,000. So that's 175,000 plus everything else around it. So I'm going to say 210,000 people. I thought that was reasonable. Now, my opponent put 700, but because of the garish difference between the two, it was like, well, who's closer to the actual answer and how far in the middle is it? Unfortunately for me, the actual answer was 69,000. Nice. Which meant that he was closer with his shitty 700 answer, and I was so far out with my 210,000. So, yeah, I suck at population. I just need to stop guessing and guesstimating population. I just always overestimate a lot of the time. I just don't know what to do. So, yeah, lost it on that because I'm a moron. What can you do? So, that's basically what happened. Sorry, I'm going to go this stuff. Then on Thursday, Hannah and I just had a date night. We did some painting. I did some painting. Hannah did some crocheting. I have started my second set of Bretonnia Knights that I got like over a year ago at this point. And I'm hoping to finish them off before moving on to whatever I got next. I did manage to get a day where I could spray some of my models, so prime them white, which is the colour that I go for before I actually paint them, because it was a struggle. It was either too cold, it was very much cold, but it got warm, and I was like, oh my god, it's getting warmer, I might be able to actually spray this week. And then the one time that I tried, it was windy, and the second time that I tried, it started raining a little bit, and I was like, fuck's sake, I'm not going to be able to do it. But I did manage to get some done on Sunday morning, so I'm very happy about that. I got a bunch done. I still have a bunch to do, but I have a bunch done, so when I'm ready to go into the elves, I'll be able to actually paint them up. And then on Saturday, Hannah was at work, so I had kind of a free day, and unfortunately for me, Firestorm was closed. They had an event going on, which meant that we couldn't use it for free, or we couldn't use it as guests, whatever. So, but my friend Cameron was free, and I was like, well, you might as well just come over, and we'll just play a game on the table. It is not to standard. It is a very small table. It's wide enough. No, it's long enough, but not wide enough, if that makes sense. But we did play a battle. We played a Battle for the Pass, which was the one that made most sense for the table size that we had. But because he was playing Bretonnia and I was playing Chaos, Bretonnia is a very much a maneuverable faction, and the lack of table space meant that he couldn't maneuver his forces really well. So I had an unfair advantage in that aspect. Battle for the Pass definitely mitigated that advantage slightly, but not enough for it to count. And then whilst at the start things were going pretty back and forth, I feel like he was gaining the advantage at the start, and then I just overswept. My Chaos Lord on Dragon, he's just an overpowered bastard, and he's able to sweep through everything. And then I had a moment where he charged my units and marauders, just a normal, no nonsense, just regular unit of marauders with his general and a unit of knights. And because they are marauders with shields and they got charged, I could use an ability called Shield Wall, which basically just allows me to not flee, which completely mitigated his other. And also he had a trebuchet which misfired and broke itself in the first turn. It happens. So yeah, I feel like my army is pretty good. It's very likely going to be this list, or a slight variation of it is going to be what I'm going to bring to my tournament in May. But Cameron had to think about his a lot, and we did a lot of discussing after the game. We only played like 2.5 turns because of how sweeping I became. But we came a lot of discussions. We found out what units were good, what units were like, yeah, actually these did really good. Despite the shortness of the round, these units are really good. And I think he learnt a lot about generally how cavalry should operate. But that was Saturday. And then Sunday we just had our regular, so I did my spraying in the morning, did our shopping in the afternoon, and then did D&D. It was a wind down session, we have had just a very large, momentous moment happen within the game, both for the players and just in general for the world itself. The world state has shifted slightly. So it was more of a wind down session. But so the players were given an object that allowed them to go to the capital, where they could just get a few things done, get the affairs sorted. But only 2 players went. So it turned out to be like kind of a half, like 3 players just sitting out listening to what was going on, which sometimes is fine. It feels a little bit, as a DM, I kind of want to get everyone involved, but like there's so much I can do, and if the players don't grasp at those the string, the straw, I can't remember, there's a phrase, then I've done what I can. Like they're choosing not to interact with that. But the 2 players that did go, we had a good fun. We had things happened, and then next session we'll be finalizing that before going back into the actual campaign. And there's a lot of D&D prep that I need to do this week, and I've started doing a little bit. Yesterday, Monday, we had my other D&D session. That went really well. That was finalizing the dungeon that they were doing. One of the players was unable to make it due to the partner's birthday, but the rest of the players managed to have a really good time doing it, I feel. They encountered it was a boss. It was a proper boss. One of the first times I've done a proper boss. It was a multi-wave boss as well, so they had a multi-stage, I should say. So they killed him on the first stage and had to kill him again on the second stage, when he shifted stats, became a little bit stronger, became a bit hardier but less hit points, but hit a lot harder. Not that it mattered. Every single round, not even kidding, every single round, one of his attacks was a nat 1. Every single round. It was livid. I didn't get a nat 20 at all. Bear in mind, this person, the creature, had a bonus on his nat 20s when something happens, something amazing happens. But we had some really cool moments with our warlock has a ability that allows him to maximize damage dice on his weapon attacks, and he crit, and he just went, I'm going all out, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use that, I'm going to use this. And it did something like 90 damage in one hit, which was very strong. But then we had our paladin also did a bunch of, everyone did quite a lot of damage, and I was really unable to do much with that, which is good. It means that I now know kind of what to expect and how strong I should make my creatures, because it turns out this fight, which I thought was going to be pretty tough, there's a map that I was rolling terribly. Not terribly, but I mean nat 1s and then I need to have stronger creatures or something in the background, maybe a few minions as well. But this is for the scheme, because this was a multiple floor stronghold. They wiped through several floors. They were on a second short rest, so they were low on resources. And I know that all the spellcasters were like, I got nothing left. So I feel like it went fine for that, and it allowed the melee characters to really shine higher following that, because a lot of them used up their resources right at the beginning. So if the player who had not been there was there, I think they would have done even better, because it's a rogue and it just does a ton of damage. So we would have to see, but they've cleared that. They've ended up somewhere, and I need to do prep for that as well. I've got a lot of prep that I need to do this week. In terms of video gaming, not as much as previous week. I've been doing a lot of other stuff in the background, but still just playing Skyrim. Modded. I'm currently playing through one of the mods, quest mods. It's just fun. Yeah, so far it's been a very stable version of my mod list. I've got like a few crashes here and there. I did have to completely remove one of my mods, because the quest list that I'm using has a lot of scripted sections that are on roads and on bridges, and I have a mod that completely revamps all of the roads in Skyrim, which includes changing every single bridge to being unique. But it means that breaks the scripts, because effectively characters are not ending up in the positions they should be because the bridge has moved or has risen up in level, which was when I realized oh, this is what's happening, I then realized I need to remove the mod if I want to keep playing these quests. So it is unfortunate, because it was a really fun mod. It added a bit of diversity in the travel, but it is just aesthetic in the end. So I was like, I'm more of a content driven player, so I was like, fine, I'll just lose out. It was a good mod. I got it in the background. It's not like deleted, but I'll re-add it when that's something that I don't really care about anymore. And that's basically it. Next, so this week, got Blood on Cocktail tonight, which is going to be really fun. If you're listening to this and you want to join, go ahead. I'm running it, so it'll be really fun. I'm learning from my previous mistakes, and I'm going to be the one actually allocating roles this time rather than having random, because last time the game was fun, but the roles were so random that they didn't interact really well. It was kind of like half people didn't do anything all game and the other half did everything. So I'm going to have a bit more of a balanced theme going around. And then tomorrow we got Vaesen, which is at my place. That'll be fun. Carry on that, because we were supposed to have it last Wednesday, but we did the pub quiz instead. And then yeah, that's basically all the big things happening. On Saturday I've got my live D&D game, followed by a Sunday D&D game, followed by a Monday D&D game. So triple D&D should be good. And yeah, I think that's pretty much my week. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a good week, and I will see you next time.